any, and then there will be presentation of government bills. We have today, on today's order paper, we are expecting 7 bills to be presented at first reading stage, and then there are 4 questions coming for oral answer under standing order number 80 and 2 motions. And just a quick look at the details of the business for today.
Absolutely. So talking about the presentation of the bills, we do expect presentation of the benefits of former presidents and former vice presidents bill. That's National Assembly Bill number 5 of 2026, and it's expected to be presented by the Vice President.
And the Minister of Finance and National Planning is expected to present the Public Service Pensions Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 9 of 2026. And the object of the bill is to revise the composition of the Public Service Pensions Fund Board and also provide for the matters connected with or incidentals to the foregoing.
We also expect the Minister of Health to present the Mental Health Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 26 of 2026. The bill seeks to revise the composition of the board of the National Mental Council, that's National Mental Health Council, and provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation is expected to present the prohibition of the development, production and stockpiling as well as use of chemical weapons amendment bill, National Assembly Bill number 27 of 2026. And this bill seeks to provide to revise the composition of the Zambia National Authority of the Chemical Weapons Convention and also provide for the matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
We expect the Minister of Tourism to present the National Museums Bill, National Assembly Bill number 34 of 2026. The bill seeks to revise the composition of the National Museums Board and provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
And the Minister of Green Economy and Environment will present the Green Economy and Climate Change Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 39 of 2026. And the object of the bill is to revise the composition of the Green Economy and Climate Change Technical Committee and provide for the matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
4 questions for oral answer under standing order number 8 will be considered on the floor of the House. And of course, we do have some motions, Pauline, as we wait for the Speaker's procession to make its way into the chamber.
Exactly, Claudette. One of the questions actually expected to come for consideration on the floor of the House is coming from Kalalwe Mukosa, Member of Parliament for Chinsali, and his question is directed to the Minister of Energy. He wants to find out whether the government has any plans to invest in the solar energy and other forms of electricity generation in Chinsali district, and if so, when the plans will be implemented, and if there are no such plans, why?
So we'll get back to the questions for oral answer, but look at, we have a private member's motion. It's coming from Mr. Fube. It's titled, Enable Local Authorities to Retain a percentage of toll revenue collected within their jurisdictions. And the other motion is coming from Dr. Kadila. It's titled, Adopt Report of the Committee on Cabinet Affairs. And just about now, Pauline.
Yes, we cross over to the floor of the House as the Speaker's procession makes its way into the House. Good afternoon.
Tendency of Zambia, proud and free, land of wit and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for the right. We blessed by those who reign. Let us all happy people join as one, brothers under the sun, oh one, strong and free. One land and one nation is our cry. Dignity and peace in Zambia's sky, like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee, O one, strong and free. Praise be to God, praise be, bless our great Zambia, Zambia, Zambia. Remain we stand under the flag of our land. Zambia, praise to thee, O one, strong and free.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation, in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen.
Good afternoon. You are watching Parliament Television, and business of the House is yet to resume. As at now, the quorum is yet to be constituted. It is a requirement that 1/3 of the House has to be present for the business of the House to resume. So in this case, a quorum has not yet been constituted.
So as soon as the quorum is constituted, business will resume. The House is expected to consider 4 questions for oral answer under Standing Order number 80. And of course, we have 2 motions, one private coming from Mr. Fube. It's titled, Enable Local Authorities to Return a Percentage of Toll Revenue Collected within their jurisdictions. And the other motion is coming from Dr. Kalila, and is titled Adopt Reports of the Committee on Cabinet Affairs.
And Claudette, we have 4 questions to be considered under Standing Order number 80 and 7 bills to be presented. And one of the questions is coming from Makonde Member of Parliament, Mr. Luka Simumba. Well, since we have a quorum now, we cross over to the floor of the House.
Order, honorable members. I have one announcement. Honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Emmanuel Adventist Secondary School in Chisamba District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome the visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seats. Urgent matters without notice. The Honorable Member for Nkana.
Madam Speaker, I rise on an urgent matter, which matter I direct to the acting leader of government business, or the leader of government business. Forgive me, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this matter is very compelling. There is growing apprehension around the individuals that participated in the last exercise of mobile national registration, who have not been paid since September last year. You may want to know, Madam Speaker, that most of these friends of ours had contracted debts to go and settle in the areas where they were deployed to undertake this important exercise. And everyone would want to know, whenever we are commencing mobile registration, these are fully funded activities. And our friends are now made to wonder what could have happened to resources that were made available but have not been given to them for the service they render to this country since September. It is our honor, the Vice President, in order to sit there very quietly and not come to this House to assure or to give a position as to why government has misused or misplaced the monies that should have otherwise gone to pay these are our hard-working public servants. I seek your very serious indulgence in this matter, Madam Speaker.
Order, honorable members. The dignity of the House has to be maintained. Honorable member from Pika, what did you say?
It's a loose translation of my.
No, what did you say?
I said Sakalanyongo, which is loosely translated as
So is that a befitting word for an honorable member to use against other honorable members or anybody for that matter?
Oh, Madam Speaker. It's a in my language, Madam Speaker.
No, we are, the honorable member from Pika, please do not engage me. You know there is acceptable language in the House and non-parliamentary language in the House. And the official language here is English. That word you have used, Sakalanyongo, whatever it is, it's insulting. It's an insulting word. So please, can you apologize and withdraw that word?
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I withdraw the word Sakaranyongo and apologize to the House and the nation for using the word Sakaranyongo. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Order, honorable members. Honorable member from Nkana, the matter that we have raised as an urgent matter without notice does not qualify. I advise that you explore other means through which you can bring that issue to the attention of the House. Doesn't meet the criteria for an urgent matter without notice. So the matter is not admitted. The honorable member for Nalolo.
Madam Speaker, I thank you most sincerely for allowing me to raise this urgent matter. Madam Speaker, this matter is on the Minister of Youth, Sports and Arts, who's not in the House. Perhaps I could raise it on the Leader of Government Business. Madam Speaker, yesterday, the Minister of Youth, Sports and Arts, and acting on his behalf, the Minister of Education, introduced the National Youth Development Council Amendment Bill of 2026. Now, Madam Speaker, you may wish to recall that on 11th July 2022, this House adopted a report by the Committee of Youth and Child Affairs, chaired by Honorable Singombe, which adopted the repeal of the National Youth Development Council Act, the repeal and replacement, CAP, or 144 of the laws of Zambia. And on 11th August, Madam Speaker, at the 16th Cabinet meeting, the then Minister of Information released a statement that Cabinet had approved in principle the repeal and replacement of that act. And your members of Parliament through the Youth Caucus have been working with the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and they've gone around the country consulting on a new youth bill. Madam Speaker, my urgent matter is stemming from the introduction of an amendment act when this House adopted by resolution the repeal and replacement of the entire National Youth Development Council Act, which I have followed up through questions to the Minister and to our Honourable Vice President. My question, my urgent matter is the Minister of Youth and Sport in order to introduce an amendment act for a very law which this House passed a resolution to repeal and replace without informing this House, which passed that resolution, that there's been a change or shift in government policy, which is normal, Madam Speaker. Is therefore the Minister in order to proceed with the introduction of this law when this House adopted a resolution to repeal and replace that particular legislation. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Nalolo. For what I know is that we do not have, well, a resolution could have been passed, but there is not yet pending before this Honorable House a bill to replace, to amend, to repeal and replace the act that you are referring to. The amendment that has been introduced is touching more on the composition of the board or the council. So before the bill is presented to the House for replacement and for repeal and replacement, the House can still deal with the issue of the commission, the composition of the council, because the bill is not before us. We can only deal with matters that are presented before us. As you know, the bills come from the executive and presented before the House for the House to consider. Well, those issues are issues that you could also present when the bill is being considered before the committee, so you can appear there and make those representations. So the matter does not qualify to be raised as an urgent matter without notice. It's something that can be dealt with. Actually, it's even an administrative matter. So it doesn't qualify, it's not admitted. The Honorable Member for Kamfinsa.
Madam Speaker, once again, I'm grateful for the opportunity to direct an urgent matter without notice to the Minister of Health. Considering that the Minister of Health, Madam Speaker, is not with us this afternoon, I will direct the matter to our Honourable Vice President, Leader of Government Business. Madam Speaker, yesterday, you do recall there was an interaction on the floor regarding the recruitment of health workers, in particular medical doctors. And as arising from that interaction, the news item which has been disseminated by various media platforms is that 210 medical doctors will be employed and many other health workers. Madam Speaker, as a result of yesterday's discussion, there's been a concern that has been raised on the criteria that will be used to recruit the 2,500 health workers. Is it the number of years that someone has stayed after graduation? Is it the grades that they obtained in university? What is the criteria that will be utilized, considering that the number that will be recruited, Madam Speaker, compared to the number of people that applied, obviously, for these job opportunities, there has not been any transparent process through which the recruitment will take place. The concern from the people, and I hope that government can be given an opportunity, Madam Speaker, just to explain the criteria before the names are published, because clearly, Madam Speaker, the outcry is that the process of recruitment was not done transparently, and people will end up questioning government if they don't explain the criteria for recruitment. Madam Speaker, is government in order not to explain to the many applicants that are seeking these jobs in the health sector on the criteria, Madam Speaker, that will be utilized to recruit the 2,500 health workers, some of who may not know exactly what roadmap was utilized. Madam Speaker, is government in order? I think an opportunity needs to be accorded to them to explain to the people. I thank you, Madam Speaker, and I seek your indulgence.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Kamfinsa, you are stating that that issue was discussed or was debated yesterday through questions for oral answers. The question was submitted to the Honorable Minister of Health, and he responded to it. What you are raising, Honorable Members, qualifies to have been asked as a subsequent question to the Honorable Minister yesterday when that matter was being discussed. Now, to raise it today as an urgent matter without notice, first of all, it doesn't even meet the criteria to be raised as an urgent matter without notice. The other way, Honorable Member, is to engage the Honorable Minister, since it was already a matter that was already on the floor of the House. And by practice, we are not allowed to be repetitive. Today we discuss a matter, the next day we discuss the same matter. It's against our standing orders. So Honorable Member for Kamfinsa, please do engage the Honorable Minister, or ask you another question which can be addressed by the Honorable Minister. But definitely the matter does not qualify and is therefore not admitted. That concludes urgent matters without notice. We go to the next item, which is presentation of government bills. Her Honor, the Vice President.
Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled The Benefits of Former Presidents and Former Vice Presidents Bill, National Assembly Bill number 5 of 2026. The objects of this bill are to A, provide for the retirement benefits of former presidents and former vice presidents of the Republic. B, repeal and replace the Benefits of Former Presidents Act 1993. And C, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
Order, Honorable Members, that side, please. Honorable Member for Kanyama, you are visiting. Please, can you ensure that you don't engage in the disruption of the House? Let the bill be read the first time.
The Benefits of Former Presidents and Former Vice Presidents Bill, National Assembly Bill number 5 of 2026.
Order, Honorable Members. The bill stands referred to the Committee on Cabinet Affairs. The committee.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the Public Service Pension Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 9 of 2026. The objects of this bill are to A, revise the composition of the Public Service Pension Fund Board, and B, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
Thank you. Let the bill be read the first time.
The Public Pensions Amendment Bill, the Public Service Pensions Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 9 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on National Economy, Trade and Labor Matters. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. Honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Next bill, the Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled Mental Health Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 26 of 2026. The object of this bill are to A, revise the composition of the board of the National Mental Health Council, and B, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing. Madam Speaker, I submit.
Thank you. Let the bill be read the first time.
The Mental Health Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 26 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Health, Community Development and Social Services. The committee is required to submit its report. Order, honorable members. Can we have some order? When you are discussing, please can you tone down your voices, because you are distracting me also here. The bill stands referred to the Committee on Health, Community Development and Social Services. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. Honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Next bill, the Honorable Acting Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled The Prohibition of the Development, Production and Stockpiling and Use of Chemical Weapons Amendment Bill, National Assembly number 27 of 2026. The object of this bill are to A, revise the composition of the Zambia National Authority on the Chemical Weapons Convention, and B, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
Let the bill be read the first time.
The Prohibition of the Development, Production, Stockpiling and Use of Chemical Weapons Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 27 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on National Security and Foreign Affairs. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. Honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Next bill, the Honorable Minister of Tourism.
Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the National Museums Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 34 of 2026. The objects of the bill are A, to revise the composition of the National Museums Board, and B, to provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
Thank you. Let the bill be read the first time.
The National Museums Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 34 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Energy, Water Development and Tourism. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. Honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Next bill, the Honorable Minister of Green Economy and Environment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the Green Economy and Climate Change Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 39 of 2026. The objects of this bill are to A, revise the composition of the Green Economy and Climate Change Technical Committee, and B, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Let the bill be read the first time.
The Green Economy and Climate Change Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 39 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Energy, Water Development and Tourism. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. Honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Next bill, the Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the National Health Research and Training Institute Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 43 of 2026. The objects of this bill are to A, revise the composition of the board of the National Health Research and Training Institute, and B, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing. Thank you. Madam Speaker, submit.
Thank you. Let the bill be read the first time.
The National Health Research and Training Institute Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 43 of 2026.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Health, Community Development and Social Services. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course. Honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Questions for oral answer under Standing Order 80. The Honorable Member for Chinsali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 286.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Energy.
Madam Speaker, Mr. Kalabwe Mukosa, Member of Parliament for Chinsali Parliamentary Constituency, is asking the Minister of Energy, A, whether the government has any plans to invest in solar energy and any other forms of electricity generation in Chinsali District, B, if so, when the plans will be implemented, and C, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, A, yes, the government has plans to develop the Mwambwa 75-megawatt hydropower plant and 20-megawatt solar facility through the private sector. In addition, government plans to install 2 megawatts in each constituency under the Presidential Constituency Energy Initiative to support power availability in each constituency. So far, the Ministry of Energy is working with the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development and has shortlisted companies that will implement the projects. Madam Speaker, we are targeting this month, that is April 2026, at the start date, and the funds from CDF have been secured. B, the projects are currently in development phase, and timeline for the construction of solar is starting this month, 2026. As for the hydro, the timelines for construction or completion have not been fully determined. And C, according to the response in A, government has plans to invest in solar energy and electricity generation in Chinsali District. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Chinsali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for the answer. And I took note of the intention by the government to do a 2 megawatt solar plant in Chinsali. Thank you. I just wanted to seek a clarification on the solar, the hydro power that you talked about. Did you say the government has plans to construct a hydropower station in Chinsali? I just wanted to seek a clarification. I didn't hear you properly in your answer. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Acting Minister of Energy.
I said through private sector. Thank you.
There is an indication for a point of order. Honorable Member for Lukasha, what's the point of order?
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity given to me to raise this point of order, which is anchored on Article 72 of the Constitution. Madam Speaker, when we arrive in Parliament, our first order of business is to swear, to uphold the Constitution and to protect the Constitution. Now, one of the requirements of the Republican Constitution is that each member of Parliament must remain in their seat for the whole tenure of Parliament without defecting to another political party. Under Article 72(2), D and G, Madam Speaker, any member who changes political parties or one who was elected independent and joins a political party is deemed to have vacated his seat. Madam Speaker, it's on record that the following members of Parliament have defected to the UPND lately, and they've declared publicly so. Honorable Katambo, Honorable Mushanga, Honorable Chibuye, Honorable Sande Chanda, Honorable Nakaponda, and Honorable Ivan Kibombwe. Madam Speaker, I would like to seek your ruling on whether, by being in this House, these members are not abrogating the Constitution, specifically Article 72. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Lukasha. I do not have details of what has transpired, so the best that I can do is to reserve the ruling so that we can inquire and look at what exactly happened. So, ruling is reserved to a date to be notified. Can we make progress? The Honorable Minister, Acting Minister of Energy, was in the process of responding. The Honorable, or should the Honorable Member repeat the question? He was saying, he was asking, okay, Honorable Member for Chinsali, you can repeat the question?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Actually, the Minister answered that the government has intentions through the private sector. So now I just wanted to make a follow-up question that has an area been identified where you would like the private sector to develop a hydropower station in Chinsali? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Acting Minister of Energy.
I said the 75 megawatts hydro power plant at Mwambwa.
Have you heard Mwambwa? The name Mwambwa. That's what the Honorable Minister said. Whether it's correct pronunciation or not, I don't know. Okay, let's make progress. The Honorable Member for Shuangandu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, to be very important that the Minister clarifies what he says, what he means by that Mwambwa, whether it's a stream, and I don't think we have got anything like that in Chinsali district. However, my question, Honorable Minister, is you mentioned that you're looking forward to doing 2 megawatts in each constituency. I would like to know when you intend to implement this program, and if this is the program, as you said, presidential initiative, which was targeting the Constituency Development Fund, how much is the cost of establishing a 2 megawatt solar power facility. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Energy.
Madam Speaker, that's a new question.
Honorable Member for Shwangandu. I now fail to understand, or I don't understand the justification or the grounds for raising points of order. Because if the Honorable Minister says that's a new question, surely should that result in a point of order? I think the point of order, if it's based on what the Honorable Minister has said, then it's misdirected. But let's hear, what is your point of order?
Madam Speaker, it's your job to rule a question either new or out of context. The Honorable Minister, in his response, as he was responding to the substantive question posed by the Honorable Member from Chinsali, he included, among many other interventions, the establishment of 2 megawatt solar facilities. It's him. How can then that become a new question when I made a follow-up to just find out how much the cost of establishing that 2 megawatts from the presidential initiative is going to be? How does that become a new question, Madam Speaker? Is he in order to conduct himself like that when it's his responsibility to respond to our questions? I think you're serious ruling, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Member for Shwangandu, if you look closely at question number 286, it's asking whether the government has any plans to invest in solar energy and other forms of electricity generation in Chinsali district. So what the Honorable Minister was saying, yes, the government has planned, and one of these plans is the 2 megawatts initiative, presidential initiative under the Constituency Development Fund. So and also this is a constituency-based question. So the Honorable Minister, Acting Minister, as he was answering, he was restricting himself to the question as asked by the Honorable Member for Chinsali. So when you start asking what will be the cost of generally the cost of the solar, it's not arising from this question. So the point of order is misplaced. Thank you. Can we make progress? Next question, the Honorable Member for Kamfinsa.
Madam Speaker, question number 287 on behalf of the people of Kamfinsa.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honourable Member of Parliament for Kamfinsa, Mr. Christopher Kangombe, is asking the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, A, whether the government has any plans to work on the following roads in Kamfinsa parliamentary constituency. 1, Kamfinsa Correctional Facility, Ndola Mufurula Junction. 2, Kanshimu Farm Block, Kakolo Farm Block. And 3, Old Zamtan, new plots in Zamtan up to Zamtan Cemetery. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. C, if there are no such plans, why? Our response, Madam Speaker, is as follows. Government, through the Ministry of Local Government, has plans to work on the following roads in Kamfinsa parliamentary constituency. That is the Kamfinsa Correctional Facility, Ndola Mufulira Junction, Kanshimu Farm Block, Kankolo Farm Block, and Old Zamtan new plots in Zamtan up to Zamtan Cemetery. B, the plans will be implemented once funds have been made available for the project. C, Madam Speaker, as stated in A above, government has plans to work on the above-mentioned roads in Kamfinsa parliamentary constituency. Thank you.
Supplementary questions. The Honourable Member for Kamfinsa.
Madam Speaker, the question that I have posed to the Ministry of Infrastructure has a very short background, Madam Speaker. When I was elected MP, I took the liberty to engage the Minister and the Permanent Secretary to ensure that these projects that I've referred to, the road from the prison going all the way to the Ndola Mufurira Road, it's stretching about 10 to 12 kilometers, Madam Speaker. This is not a short stretch because I knew that the council would not have the capacity to undertake such major roadworks, including the road from Kanshim Farm Block going all the way to Kakolo Farm Block. Madam Speaker, I was assured that these works will be done under a World Bank funded project, which was actually going to benefit even in Ndola Central constituency, which borders Kamfinsa. Madam Speaker, we've seen in other parts of Zambia, the World Bank has funded these works, and works are being done by a contractor, not the local authority, because of the scope of the works. I would want to find out, therefore, Madam Speaker, as my first follow-up question, what happened to the commitment that was made by the ministry to undertake these works in Kamfinsa parliamentary constituency? Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honourable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honourable, for a follow-up question. Madam Speaker, government through the RDA will this quarter undertake an assessment of such roads with a view to establish the scope of works and the associated costs. The works will then be added to the 2027 road sector annual work plan once the cost has been established. However, the Honourable Member is asking specifically concerning World Bank. I cannot speak for the World Bank now because World Bank funding is normally a matter that is agreed through the Ministry of Finance, and at times some of those agreements do not fall through. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Kamfinsa.
Madam Speaker, my responsibility on behalf of the people of Kamfinsa is to communicate to government. Consistently, Madam Speaker, I have communicated. We have also demonstrated effort as a local team to try and work on these roads, but unfortunately, Madam Speaker, these are not works that the local authority can actually implement. The scale of the works, the extent of the works, the number of bridges on some of these roadworks, Madam Speaker, this is something that the local authority is not able to implement. I would want some level of assurance as I go back to the constituency over the weekend. Nkana is playing power dynamos over the weekend, so obviously I should be heading back to the Copper Belt. Madam Speaker, as I spare some time to engage the community, what message am I taking to the people of Kamfinsa that these works will be undertaken by government? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honourable Member of Parliament understands that government is one. And this same one government has decentralized certain roads. The roads the Honourable is talking about are district roads. And district roads are supposed to be prioritized by a local authority, where he's a member now, thanks to Bill 7. Secondly, once the district prioritizes the roads, those roads, the ministry responsible for local government is supposed to assess roads which can be done by the local authority and roads which may be beyond the local authority. This is why the Ministry of Local Government does advertise such roads to contractors, because they understand that certain roads cannot be done by the council. So I have already indicated in my answer that Currently, there's going to be an assessment of such roads, and not just in Kafisa, but in many other districts. And these are ongoing works, Madam Speaker. And I have indicated in my response to the ministry that these works will be assessed, and in the next year's budget 2027, the roads will be considered. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Nakonde.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Question number 288.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mr. Simumba Nakonde asked the Minister of Education, A, why Musindano Primary School in Nakonde District is administered by the Isoka District Education Board, and B, when the administration of the school will be realigned to the Nakonde District Education Board. Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that this primary school has continued to be administered under the Isoka District Education Board due to historical administrative arrangements. At the time the school was established, Nakonde District was part of Isoka District, and the school was placed under the administration of Isoka. When Nakonde was later created as a separate district, the administrative alignment of some institutions, including this primary school, was not immediately adjusted. As a result, the school remained under Isoka District Education Board to ease of management at that time. However, upon review by the district and provincial education offices, it was established that the school is located in Mukulika Ward of Nakonde District, and therefore falls within the jurisdiction of Nakonde District. The matter came to attention when it was noted that the school was unable to fully benefit from programs implemented under Nakonde District, including support through the Constituent Development Fund. B, Madam Speaker, following consultations between the district and education officers and the provincial education office, it was resolved that the administration of this primary school be realigned to Nakonde District with immediate effect in order to ensure that the school is managed under the correct district and is able to benefit from government programs being implemented in Nakonde. Madam Speaker, the Minister has since guided that the necessary administrative procedures be concluded to formalize the realignment. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions? I see an Honorable Member for Nakonde.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And I think at this time, I would like just to thank the government that they have heard our cry that school can be aligned to Nakonde. I don't have much to say since the Minister has confirmed that it is going to be done. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Nakonde. Next question, the Honorable Member for Chinsali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 289.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, Honorable Member, asked government how many beneficiaries of the Farmer Input Support Program there were in Chinsali District as of the following dates: 1st December 2014, 1st December 2019, 1st December 2024, and 1st December 2025. Then on B, whether the government has any plans to increase the number of beneficiaries, and C, if so, when the plans will be implemented. Our response, Madam Speaker, is as follows. The number of many beneficiaries on the Farmer Input Support Program in Chinsali District as of the following dates were: 1st December 2014, 8,466. 2019, 8,466. 2024, 8,466. September 2025, 466. Madam Speaker, you note that the figure is static. On B, the government, Honourable Member, through the Speaker, has no plans to increase the number of beneficiaries on the Farmer Input Support Program, as government policy is to promote other initiatives, including the Sustainable Agriculture Financing Facility, as well as encouraging farmers to join the private outgrower schemes and seed suppliers. On C, there are no plans to increase the number of beneficiaries as stated in B above. Government policies to promote other initiatives. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions. The Honourable Member for Chinsali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Honourable Minister, for having indicated that from 2014 to 2025, in fact, let me just say up to date, there has been no change in the number of the farmers that are on the Farmer Input Support Program. The static number, according to what you have said, has been 8,466. Now, I would just like to find out, considering that these are different years, this is almost, I think, 12 years from 2014 to date, and the number has been 8,466. What has been happening to those who have been maybe dying or relocating to other places? Have you been replacing them, or what has been happening? I would like to know, so that for the sake of information. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam. Indeed, in order to maintain the standard number, when there is a change in the applicants, others from the same district are introduced so that the number remains and that the district is not disadvantaged. Well, thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Chilubi.
I wanted to find out from the Minister whether he is aware that the number, which I agree, I'm sure that is turned out from the 1,024,000, which is nationwide, and the statistic everywhere. But I wanted to find out whether the inclusion of new cooperatives as beneficiaries is what is causing the people to portray a picture that they are actually sharing fertilizer in medals, meaning those gallons, Madam Speaker, the 5 liters gallons. Whether that is whether is aware that that's a source because of the inclusion of new cooperatives on the beneficiaries.
The Honourable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honourable Member. Madam Speaker, government does not encourage sharing of inputs. That happens outside government's obligation. Ours is to give the fertilizer to the 8,466. If they do share, maybe they want to give an uncle, etc., it's outside what we guide them, because that is not a correct thing to do. And maybe just to keep the record straight, it is assumed, Madam Speaker, that this sharing has been going on for a very long time. It is not a new phenomenon. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Shiwangandu.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, my question is a rider on the follow-up question that came from Honourable MP for Chilubi. Honourable Minister, the number of beneficiaries has remained constant, as you have shared with this August House. But you may wish to know that there are new cooperatives that have been introduced in Chinsali, whilst the number has remained the same. And this is what has, mounted pressure on the farmers to share, because whilst the numbers remain constant, the new cooperatives has also come with some new members. That's a question, that's a reality that is obtaining in Chinsali and in the next constituency, Shuangando. But since we are dealing with Chinsali, that's the situation which is obtaining. What are you going to do to address that challenge? Because it's real on the ground. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I wish to thank Honorable Kampiongo for that intervention. Madam Speaker, government has come in this House and indicated that because of the fact that FISIP is merely to give out enhanced production, every year almost $400 to $500 million, it is not a sustainable program. To make it sustainable, we are going for other programs like the SAF, where beneficiaries are expected to pay at least the principal amount with a very marginal interest rate of Bank of Zambia plus 2 basis points. Bank of Zambia rate plus 2 basis points. So if Bank of Zambia is at 13, we will make it plus 2, 15. So, as it were, yes, the member, Madam Speaker, could be right, but whether it is right or wrong, we will not increase the number of FISIP beneficiaries. I thank you.
Thank you. Private member's motion, the Honorable Member for Chilubi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I beg to move that this House urges the government to put in place modalities that will empower local authorities to retain a percentage of toll revenue collected within their jurisdiction.
Is the motion seconded?
Seconded, Madam Speaker.
Seconded by the Honorable Member for Kanchibia. The question is that this House urges the government to put in place modalities that will empower local authorities retain a percentage of the toll revenue collected within their jurisdiction. Any debate?
The Honorable Member for Chilubi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in the first place, I would like to lay foundational principles that are connected to this motion. And among them, I want to recognize that the law in Article 152 positions the Council as the implementer of projects, government projects at district level. I further want to recognize that in Article 147, there is the devolution, which entails administration and management of state resources. That means also politically, socially, legally, and economical affairs at national level. Madam Speaker, what this motion seeks to harvest is, among other things, respecting the law as it has been made. And in doing so, Madam Speaker, we want to recognize first that there is existence of the National Roads Fund Agency, which is also backed by the National Road Fund Act number 11 of 2002. But specifically, this motion will dwell on section 16.2D. Madam Speaker, I also want to recognize that there is Toll Gate Act number 14 of 2011, which defines the key terms that, Madam Speaker, there's a bit of noise that is coming and a bit disturbing there, which talks about the toll fees and defines what a toll fee is. And in this case, it is corrected on any road, border post, bridge, pontoon, and another place where the agents or a concessionaire operates a toll point. Madam Speaker, the purpose of this money collected, which is now called the Road Fund, is to construct, maintain, rehabilitate of public roads and related infrastructure. Madam Speaker, we do also realize that the Local Government Act also gives the local authority, the Local Government Act number 2 of 2019, specifically section 16.2, also gives the law to the local government to manage, construct, and maintain specific roads, road networks within their jurisdiction. Therefore, Madam Speaker, there is a serious marriage in terms of legal and policy framework in supportive of the decentralized arrangement. But, Madam Speaker, I'll be blind not to recognize that Cabinet Circular number 32 of 2023 do not include targets or toll fees in this particular arrangement. This is, Madam Speaker, the circular that talks about devolution and devolved functions, among them those from the Minister of Transport, Minister of Local Government, other ministries that are related to this. And I think, if I remember well, it is also linked to Gazette number 1123. This is also tallied with that. Now, when it comes to the issues of toll fees, why are we trying to talk about the toll fees? Currently, the revenue is centralized, and rightly so, because the law supports decentralization of those, toll fees that are collected through the road sector. But, Madam Speaker, when we look at toll, let's look at toll gates, where all the toll gates are positioned. It is in this house, Madam Speaker, that I did ask a question to do with the issues of the revenue that comes from the toll gates and the number of toll gates. And the Minister of Finance was kind enough to provide that information and where the toll gates are. And you find that these toll gates are now spread, and government is also planning to construct more toll gates. But where does the problem come in? The problem comes in is that where these toll gates are passing, the roads are getting damaged and demand for maintenance. Usually, when the National Road Fund wants to come in, there is this structure where we approve these funds and the like and so forth. What this motion is asking for is a percentage, that has not specified, but a percentage of what is collected through those toffees, like what the president did in the last, in the 2020, is it 2024, 2025 structure of the CDF, where they are to allocate a 3.2 as to support that particular arrangement. I do realize, Madam Speaker, that there is a 210 million that has been made available for qualifying local authorities, $210 million to be specific, for qualifying, local authorities. But, Madam Speaker, what we are talking about here is that the local authorities, many of the funds that they are receiving is the equalization fund. They are also receiving the CDF and the like. What we are trying to take away from is an issue of collapsing equity into reality. What we are talking about is taking away some of these local authorities that can raise funds on their own. We take them away from benefiting from the equalization fund and let those that are not exposed to revenue, that is hot, as the hot revenue, where they collect revenue. And this is where this percentage comes in, Madam Speaker. And this is where equity comes in. All these councils that we are talking about, the local authorities, I know they are municipals, there are also town councils, and classification, I think, is about 3 types of our councils. But in this classification, they do not have the same financial capacity. And Madam Speaker, these laws that I've quoted and that I've pointed out to are calling for financial, or you can call it fiscal autonomy of local authorities, so that they can manage the maintenance of roads, they can manage the bridges, they can also manage pontoons and many other things that are connected to the road network.
Order,
So that
order, honorable member for Chama South. We've forgotten our rules. Huh? So may the honorable member for Chama wait, be in the back while we are listening. When the honorable member for Chiluvi finishes, then you can come and take your seat. You can go and sit near the honorable member for Ron. May the honorable member for Chiluvi continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So what I'm trying to underscore is a financing model that empowers the local authority to react to immediate damage of roads, to react to immediate damage of bridges which are housing these, what we are calling targets. That is as simple as that. And that is what we are trying to say. For instance, if there's a target called George Kunda target, and near there is a local authority, and the road is damaged, we do not need to wait for the National Road Fund to come in and maintain that particular road. Since the local authority, the Local Government Act empowers the local authority to maintain roads within their jurisdiction, the local authority will be positioned enough using this particular percentage we are calling for to react to that particular damage. Madam Speaker, if we are to go on the road between Kapiri to going towards Nakonde, you find that there are targets there. And the road is in bad state. And yet we can count a lot of local councils that are there. If these local councils were empowered, they will be reacting to patches which fall within their jurisdiction using this particular fund. And I know that the argument would be the secular, that area only referred to. But this is secular. Just like Article 7 says that, part of the law is the Constitution and, statutory instruments and the like. We can navigate around. And I know that this particular call is also calling on amendment of some of the laws that are here on mentioned. Madam Speaker, with those few words, I beg to move.
Thank you very much. Honorable member for Chama South, you can come and take your seat. The honorable member for, does the seconder wish to speak now or later?
Now, Madam Speaker.
The honorable member for Kanchivia.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much for this opportunity to second this motion by the good people of Chiluvi, with whom we are joined at the hip by the Chambeshi River. The only difference between us is the height. Madam Speaker, the move of this motion is one of your distinguished researchers. And this House has actually conferred serious accolades on him. And I thought in supporting this very important motion, it just goes to also recognize the great work that has been done by the government and the president in rolling out and implementing the decentralization agenda. Madam Speaker, the decentralization agenda, as we know it, becomes the cornerstone and the cornerstone of Zambia's governance and development agenda. And in this regard, it's just very important to recognize that the government and His Excellency the President is doing a great job in ensuring that we decentralize at unprecedented levels. But I'm still getting to this particular motion, which again my
my presentation or my argument to be around decentralization, that this particular motion, Madam Speaker, is timely, it is necessary in advancing the decentralization agenda and improving service delivery at local level. Madam Speaker, the local authorities we are talking about play a host and they maintain significant portions of the road infrastructure, many of which feed into the national road network and the toll collection points. As a move of this motion, Madam Speaker has alluded to, and in speaking to the legal framework, there is every need that we strengthen local government financing, and this particular motion speaks to one of the solutions to ensuring that our local authorities have what it takes to respond to some of the challenges that would be faced within their localities. Madam Speaker, this motion is correctly aligned with Zambia's broader decentralization agenda, as alluded to. It empowers local governments with responsibilities and financial resources required for them to execute their mandate effectively. When we speak about decentralization, Madam Speaker, we speak of human resource in terms of decentralization, but we also speak of decentralization from a fiscal perspective. And this becomes a key pillar of meaningful local governance. Sharing into the toll revenue, Madam Speaker, would be another practical step in that direction, ensuring that local authorities have a resource base on which they could count and fall on in responding to maintenance works, in responding to ensuring that they put up, whether it be road signage, etc., and also respond to the roads feeding into the national road network. Madam Speaker, in supporting this very important motion, the call on the government is to establish clear modalities through legislation or policy reforms that allow local authorities to retain a reasonable percentage of toll revenue generated from within their jurisdiction, which will be critical in maintaining national oversight and also equitable distribution. It's important, Madam Speaker, that as I conclude in supporting this very important motion, that this particular motion speaks to fiscal empowerment of local authorities. This particular motion speaks to strengthening local service delivery. This particular motion speaks to enhancing local accountability. This motion, Madam Speaker, speaks to promoting local economic development. This particular motion goes to deepen the decentralization agenda, transferring functions, decision-making, and to local government authorities, and ensuring that local authorities have adequate resources at their disposal. So, Madam Speaker, within that context, we want to support this very important motion. I submit.
Thank you. Any further debate? The Honourable Member for Shuangandu.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to make a few comments on the private member's motion, ably moved by the Honourable MP for Chiluvi. Madam Speaker, this motion is basically speaking to the policy of decentralization, and it's also constitutional in nature, because the challenge of implementing the decentralization policy, Madam Speaker, has been nothing else other than the issue of resources. It is easy to devolve portfolio functions from the central government to the local authorities. But if you don't allocate matching resources to those devolved functions, the policy of decentralization will not have been implemented. And this has been a challenge for many years, Madam Speaker. Because if I take you to the Constitution, under Part 11, which talks about local government systems, Article 151, Subarticle 1, provides, and I quote, "There is established a local government system where functions, responsibilities, and resources from the national government and provincial administration are transferred to the local authorities in a coordinated manner." Now, here, the Honorable MP is proposing that in the absence of these resources being allocated, there are facilities that are installed in the jurisdiction of these local authorities. And the toll gates are among such facilities where revenue is collected. So, if the responsibility to look after the road network in a district lies with the local authority, how then shouldn't the local authorities be able to access the resources that are coming from within their jurisdiction? If you are traveling from Western Province, Madam Speaker, you are able to find those inferior toll facilities that are made where people open and they charge some fees. All those are initiatives for the local authorities to generate revenue. And so we can't give what we can't pretend to give what is not being given. And in this case, it's responsibilities being given to the council without matching resources. And Madam Speaker, to emphasize this point, why I'm saying it's constitutional and we must start respecting this supreme document of the land, if you go to Article 152, which is very instructive, Madam Speaker, it says, and I quote, "A local authority shall A, administer the district, B, oversee programs and projects in the district, C, make bylaws, and D, perform other prescribed functions." And Sub-Article 2 further says, "The national government and the provincial administration shall not interfere with or compromise a local authority's ability or right to perform its functions." It's very clear, Madam Speaker. And even as the Honorable MP is moving that motion, he should have just been urging government, central government, to respect the Constitution. Because what he's asking for is provided for in this Constitution. If Impika district has got a toll gate where revenue is being collected by the central government, and there are trenches right before, as you saw, Madam Speaker, when you visited Muchinga, because I'm using a classic example. The resources are collected from that toll gate, and they can't even move to patch the portions of the west part of the road on which that toll gate is installed. We are breaching the Constitution. So the Honorable MP is urging government to respect the supreme law of the land. In fact, the sub-legislation, the act that provides for the toll gates, does speak to the effect that the local authorities should be entitled, should play a role insofar as managing those toll facilities is concerned. So it's a matter that just requires the Minister of Finance to harmonize with the Minister of Local Government. Because everything, equalization fund, is constitutional, Madam Speaker. Just as CDF, they are all constitutional. So it's important that we don't select which parts of the Constitution to respect and to uphold. So in my view, the motion raises very pertinent questions. Decentralization policy will just be a matter of pronouncement when we say we are implementing. So, in conclusion, Madam Speaker, this motion should give an opportunity to the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Local Government to ensure that they start implementing the provisions of the Constitution practically. Because you cannot run a local authority which has got no resources. When some facilities that are installed in the jurisdiction of the local authorities are generating the resources which are brought to the central government. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Bonamukubwa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing the people of Bonamukubwa to debate on this motion, which has been raised by the Honorable Member of the Honorable Member for Chilubi. Madam Speaker, this motion, yes, it's an important motion, Madam Speaker. But Madam Speaker, suffice to say that, first and foremost, I won't dwell so much on the law of it, which I've heard some honorable members have been debating. But first and foremost, Madam Speaker, we've got various acts under the RDA, the local authority, vis-a-vis management of our public infrastructure. We've got trunk roads, which are under RDA, and also we've got local authority roads, which are also maintained by local authorities. But Madam Speaker, my dwelling will be more on the issue of capacity. As we speak, I've had issues of revenue. I think it's bordering on issues of revenue, retaining a percentage of toll revenue collected within the jurisdiction. Madam Speaker, local authorities, as we speak, they've got a lot of avenues where they can raise revenue to that effect. And as we speak, they are well funded under CDF, Madam Speaker. And suffice to say that the issues we are grappling with local authorities, Madam Speaker, is capacity. As we speak, we've got the 3.2 million under local government for feeder roads in our various constituencies. And we're still grappling with the issue of capacity on how some of these local authorities are not managing well in terms of maintaining these roads and also the funding. So this correlates with the issue of now adding an extra task to the local authority that when they retain a certain percentage of the toll fees, then the maintenance of some of those trunk roads should move to the local authorities. I think it's an issue of harmonizing some of these laws, because if we said we did that to local authorities, Madam Speaker, we are adding an extra duty, as well as are still grappling with certain issues while capacity is being built through CDF. We've seen the defects within where they're improving, but I think it won't be prudent if we want to manage resources effectively to add an extra duty to the local authorities. So, Madam Speaker, for the people of Bonamukubwa, we are not supporting this motion in that aspect. Maybe in the near future, we can harmonize some of these laws to ensure that local authorities, once they are capacitated through the engineering departments. Madam Speaker, I can cite a lot of examples that our Department of Engineering, on certain local authorities, even from our district in Ndola, they are still grappling to manage projects, to inspect projects within the district. Now, if we add an extra duty, it's not only about collecting this revenue and pocketing it, then how do we maintain? We need to have a maintenance, a robust maintenance policy, because these are trunk roads where heavy-duty vehicles are passing. So this duty should still remain with aforesaid institutions such as RDA to ensure that they can effectively manage these roads. And also suffice to say that, Madam Speaker, if you look at some of these roads and toll gates where the aforesaid revenue, there's that proposal, some under the PPP arrangements, and they'll be managed by the financiers of these roads for maybe 20, 25 years. So we cannot have a conflict of laws where now we say, let's now take it to the local authority while it's being managed by an investor to ensure that they maintain that road to ensure that they recoup the investment which they've brought to this country for us to have some of these PPP roads which have been done under some of these investors. So, Madam Speaker, for the people of Banamkubwa, we do not support this motion because this motion can be looked at later when we can realign some of these laws to ensure that first, council has got capacity to run and maintain the aforesaid roads and infrastructure in their jurisdiction. Then we can start looking at issues to run with maintenance of roads. Madam Speaker, some councils can't even pick up garbage, because garbage we can charge and raise revenue through garbage collection, but we find garbage is not picked up. Then how are they going to ensure that they maintain some of these roads in some of these jurisdictions? Madam Speaker, the people of Banamkubwa do not support this motion. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Luena.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this private member's motion, which is to the effect that the government should put in place modalities to enable local authorities retain a percentage of the toll fees collected within their jurisdictions for local empowerment. Madam Speaker, I'm even a little surprised that this motion has come, because I think not too long ago there was a question or some kind of a discussion on a similar principle. And it was ably explained at that point that it's a complete non-starter to suggest that local authorities that have got national infrastructure either passing through or located in their jurisdiction should be allowed to collect separate revenue or retain a percentage of whatever is being generated. For a very simple reason: where will this start and where will it end? Should the airport be handed over to Chongwe? Should the university be handed over to Lusaka? Should the Livingstone, the Musotunya power station be handed over to Livingstone Authority? Madam Speaker, it's a non-starter. But let's talk about the toll fees. Toll fees in this country are regulated under the National Road Fund Act, which specifically Section 16 and Section 17 talks about the source of funds for the National Road Fund, as well as the application of the funds. And toll fees is one of the major sources of funds for that fund. Madam Speaker, roads, national roads, pass through several local authorities, but they do not end there necessarily. So if you take the Mumbwa Toll Plaza, it is located in Mumbwa, but it doesn't end there. So the traffic that passes through that toll gate comes from Lusaka or even beyond, and goes way beyond Mumbwa. So if you are to look at how the revenue collected from that toll gate must be fairly distributed, you can't talk about only Mumbwa local authority being allowed to retain a percentage. That traffic goes to Nkema, goes to Kaoma, goes to Mongu, goes to Limulunga, goes to Senanga, and all over the place. So what would constitute fairness if you are to localize a national asset such as toll fees or such as toll gates as far as revenue apportioning is concerned? It certainly cannot be that where it is located would therefore be considered as local revenue available, or a portion of which should be available to the local authorities. That will not be sustainable. It's the same argument that has been brought forward by some individuals in the past about border towns that wish or have suggested that part of the revenue that is realized by the revenue authority from those borders should be retained by those local authorities. It simply would not work. In fact, there's nowhere in the world where things are done like that. It would be recipe for confusion. So the current arrangement, Madam Speaker, of how these resources are pulled together and applied for the construction of new roads, maintenance of existing roads, and the general improvement of the road sector infrastructure is the most sustainable way of utilizing these national resources collected from toll fees, as opposed to handing over this money into the hands of local authorities. Madam Speaker, let me just conclude by saying that an insinuation might have been created that there is actually a constitutional requirement or any legal requirement in any law in this country to the effect that local authorities are entitled to a portion of these funds. There is no such. Even the portion that was read by my colleague from the Constitution, Article 151, 52, going downwards about the local authorities, did not in any way insinuate or suggest that there is some money that is supposed to be shared with the local authorities. What is there is that the local authorities will be funded, and they are funded normally from the national pot. And national roads are not available under the NFRA Act for local authorities to retain a percentage of the funds realized from there and apply to any other activities as they see fit, even if we would want to justify it by saying they will use that money to maintain roads. No, because the local roads or township roads or city roads are covered under separate funding, which in fact also do benefit from national funding in a number of instances anyway. So, Madam Speaker, for that reason, the people of Luena do not support this motion because it has ignored the macro view of the road sector infrastructure development and the general benefit of the citizenry, and instead it has attempted to localize such key infrastructure such as toll gates to local authorities where they are allegedly located. And I'm using the word allegedly because it is just a convenient location. The revenue realized from there does not count as locally generated funds. No, it is national funds that are distributed for the benefit of all townships, of all districts, of all cities, and therefore for the benefits of all the citizenry in the nation. With these few words, Madam Speaker, we wish to restate that we do not support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Mwenelonga.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. It's a long time that I had a chance to debate on matters that are brought before this House. I think this is a very important debate, and I wish to add the voice of the people of Mwinilunga. Madam Speaker, I've heard insinuations that perhaps the UPND government moved swiftly without considering the issues that may derail decentralization, especially as it regards revenues. I want to say to the contrary. I think this country has been looking for champions to implement the national decentralization. I've said this many times over, that we really needed someone to champion the cause of decentralization because it is good for the country. And the UPND government, when they came in, they fronted the issue of revenue, which was a very difficult part, through grants to the local authorities. And I think as a government and as a country, we are doing extremely well in terms of providing subventions to the local authorities. Yes, indeed, you cannot at the same time implement all that is required, because this is what actually made us delay, because we were not courageous enough to say we can implement this, this can hold, we can implement this, this can hold. I think we didn't have the leadership that was thinking like that prior to UPND forming government. So I want to say that really you can't falter this government in implementing the national decentralization policy. Is doing very well. But I want to come specifically to the issue at hand. If we are talking about the broader framework of financing local government, I would have supported you. But the fact that you have taken a narrow view of your debate on the targets, I have been appropriately advised by the people of Mwinilunga not to support this motion. And I want to give you reasons. There is what we call in local government the principle of subsidiarity, meaning anything that can be done at the local level by the people at the local level, give it to them. Anything that can appropriately be undertaken by the central government, let the central government do it. And therefore, the issue of targets, there are targets that are in the hands of the private sector through the PPP. There could be other targets that are in the hands of the central government. So if I may ask, where are those situated? Do we have targets in all the districts? The answer is no. So what the government is doing is the few targets that are in the hands of government, the money is collected by the central government because it is in good position to do that. So that money, and I'm not too sure whether you exhausted your research, because there is money that is going to the local authorities today. I think those of you, not equalization, it's from RATSA. There is money that is going to every council. Maybe the MPs, you are not checking with your councils. If you were checking with your councils, you would have known that there is money, there is a grant that is going to local authorities from RDA. Okay? So, that is the money plus what is given through a portion of the Constituency Development Fund is going to the roads. So when you add that, if you haven't bought equipment, if you haven't bought the yellow equipment, as is popularly known, that is your problem. Perhaps it's the time to consider buying the yellow equipment. As in Mwinilunga, we have full-fledged equipment, 6 of them. So the money that is coming through RATSA, the money that is coming through Constituency Development Fund, we are ready to work on our roads, except that the constituency or the district is too big. That is the challenge. Otherwise, talking about what you are talking about, sharing the the toll gates, the government is already doing that through the grants that are going to local authorities. I think when we bring issues here, we really need to do good work by researching. Otherwise, we'll come here and start talking about things that the government is already doing. Yes. So, Madam Speaker.
Sorry, let me just give guidance. Honorable Member for Minunga, let me just give guidance. Honorable Member for Chilubi, this is your motion. If you have any point that you want to raise, take note, write it down, and as you wind up, you can bring out those issues. Allow the people to debate, and then you respond as you wind up. May the Honorable Member for Minulunga continue.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the point is that this motion must fail because it doesn't pass through the tests of the issues that I have mentioned here. Maybe next time we should be talking about how do we look at the framework for, legal framework for, revenue mobilization for local authorities. Madam Speaker, today we had a meeting with the ST, Secretary to the Cabinet, and these are the issues that we've been discussing, the issue of capacities for local authorities. So where the central government has capacity, let the central government do it, but give a share to the local authorities. Where the local authorities have capacity, give them to implement. That's the bottom line. That's how local authorities and the central government as a big brother operate. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Nyimba.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, to me, this is an important, very important motion coming from the short people of Chilubi. Madam Speaker, we need to acknowledge first as a country that our systems have failed us, and whatever we do, we failed to move because of our systems. Madam Speaker, those who are for and who are against, there is a very thin line in between. Madam Speaker, this government today is doing a very wonderful job by raising money coming from LATSA through National Road Fund to those councils who are giving out loads, taxes and fitness. Madam Speaker, maybe few of the MPs are not aware that we are receiving, I think last year it was 3 million. In this year's budget, I think, I saw the Minister of Finance increasing it to 6 million for the local authorities. We are doing that at last level, Madam Speaker. Why can't we do it through RDA? Madam Speaker, the issue of saying that the councils where these toll gates are situated, I think that is where the bad taste is coming from, Madam Speaker. All we need to do as a country, Madam Speaker, is to correct this money. Because, Madam Speaker, the vehicle going to Lundaz where there's no toll gate, it passes through Chongwe. It will pass through Nyimba where there's a toll gate. In Lufunsa, Madam Speaker, there's no toll gate. In Petauke, there's no toll gate. To pass in Kasenengo, Madam Speaker, there's a toll gate. In Sparta, there's no toll gate, Madam Speaker. They are up to Chadiza. So the traffic which is flowing through Great East Road. So we're not going to select Chongwe, Nyimba, and Kasenengwa to benefit from this money. Because this is the traffic which is passing through all these towns. Madam Speaker, all we need to do is to correct the money and ask central government to portion a certain percentage for us to share as a nation. We are not going to promote one single district because they are housing the facility. Madam Speaker, housing the facility does not mean that you are the only one contributing to that facility. So this is, Madam Speaker, for me to separate between the two, those who are against and those who are for. Why do we need this money? Because you are doing it as executive. Today, if you ask the Minister of Finance, Madam Speaker, he is releasing money. As of today, I'm aware has already released 1 million out of the 6 million kwatas from the same amount. So it's going to be very productive for us as a nation, Madam Speaker, to see to it that even constituencies or districts like Nyimba, Madam Speaker, who've never seen a tarmac beyond Great East Road, Madam Speaker, can see a tarmac for the first time. Madam Speaker, districts, there are so many districts in England, Madam Speaker, that have never seen a tarmac beyond the Great East Road, Madam Speaker. They can see a tarmac, Madam Speaker. Because if we correct this man, for example, if we were to correct 1 billion kwacha, a percentage, maybe 10%, 5%, whichever, let me put it as a practical example. Meaning each district, Madam Speaker, we're going to see roads moving. Today, those concessionaires, Madam Speaker, we've given out toll gates. Maybe they've built 2, if I'm not mistaken, the Chilabomba and the recent one, which is being built along Kabwe Road. The rest were done by government, Madam Speaker. So what I'm saying is, let's contribute, let's get a certain tax minister. Do not be distracted by those who are opposing this, because you're already doing it under LATSA. So I don't think the same law you're using under LATSA, we can use it to get a certain percentage, and the money should be shared to 116 constituencies, Madam Speaker, equitably. If it's 5 million, each district should get 5 million, just as you are doing with LATSA. It doesn't matter, it's Lusaka, they are getting 6 million. As small as Ngabwa, Madam Speaker, they're also getting 6 million. So we can do the same, we can replicate what we are doing, and this is how government is moving. So even as we are opposing the short man from Chilui, Madam Speaker, it will be easy for us to understand that these things we are already doing them. So it's my prayer, Minister of Finance, that you can consider this. We can sit down as a nation and see to it that we start moving. Madam Speaker, the laws, this country has got sufficient laws to make sure that we come up with a solution to this. We are not going to lose anything. Madam Speaker, even those who are coming in this country as investors, they need to contribute. There are very few companies today doing corporate social responsibility, Madam Speaker, in the areas where they're operating. But this is a percentage. Even a 2%, a 3% would be enough for our district to be getting something. Madam Speaker, I don't subscribe to the idea of capacity in our councils. Madam Speaker, the same engineers we have at our councils are the same engineers, Madam Speaker, who are seated in Lusaka. They went to the same school. They graduated at the same time, Madam Speaker. The issue of capacity is not here or there. What is there, Madam Speaker? It's the systems we have put in place. Madam Speaker, I was a councillor and I understand these things, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when I was elected as the tower councillor, Madam Speaker, the council was behind by 8 months, Madam Speaker. Honorable Sylvia Massive was my minister by then. But we managed to raise and pay councils within 4 months. It's the system and just the heart to increase the revenue of those councils. So the idea of telling me that there is no capacity at councils, Madam Speaker, it's not here or there, Madam Speaker. Today, Minister of Finance, I request, I know this department fall under your department. The ISO 2000, ISO 9000, those waited in the middle of town, where I propose that you should move them from there, Madam Speaker. These, they should train our councils, government directors, Madam Speaker. They need to understand what that institution does, Madam Speaker. If we can live at if we can understand the concept behind that institution, Madam Speaker, things in government will start moving. Madam Speaker, private sectors flourish because of the same people. They audit the quality of works, quality of products. Why can't we also audit the quality of our councils, the quality of council workers we have, or the product our councils are giving out there to the areas where they're operating? Madam Speaker, I beg to ask you for a minute, Madam Speaker, so that I ask the Minister of Finance, Madam Speaker, to make sure that directors, CSS, Madam Speaker, are invited by that institution so that they can be retrained and start changing some of the policies which have failed us as a country, Madam Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you very much. But Honorable Member for Nyimba, you are not debating accordance to the motion. The motion is saying toll revenue collected within their jurisdiction, not to be distributed fairly. So as you debate, honorable members, just look at the motion. The honorable member for Chama South.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me state from the onset that I do not support this motion, and I'll give reasons. This motion is suggesting that government should put modalities in place to ensure that the revenue that is collected in each district where these toll gates are located, a percentage of that revenue should be given to that council in that district. I think this is what I would call extremely insensitive. It can also be a foundation for serious problems in our country. Such thinking, Madam Speaker, it should not be put up with. What we are forgetting is that the toll fees are a creation of the law. The Tolls Act number 4, 2011. There are also statutory powers that are vested in the Minister of Transport through the statutory instrument number 85, I think, of 2016. You can imagine a situation where, if this is allowed, how much money is being collected at Manyimbu Toll Plaza? What about the Michael Sata Toll Plaza that is on the Copper Belt, which is shared between Ndola and Kitwe? If you get 20% of that money to remain, for example, in Kitwe or Ndola, honestly, Madam Speaker, tomorrow you hear the people of Chirobi also start claiming for toll fees on the passage, because there they only have water. On the passage of the waters, if you try to pass using a speedboat, they will also be demanding for toll fees. Someone is reminding me that we call it Strait of Chirobi. It is too wide. Chirobi is too wide. We might not even have a strait. So such thinking, Madam Speaker, is something that we should not encourage coming from members of this august House. What does the Act say, the Tolls Act? What does it say? We are collecting this money, the government is collecting this money for construction of more roads as well as rehabilitation of more roads. We already have the PPP Act in place. For example, the roads from here going to the Copper Belt, thanks to the New Dawn government and the methodical way of thinking of President Hakainde Hichilema and his administration, there is no public funds being used on that road. Now you can imagine, we want to collect the funds from these toll fees to go and do a road which is leading to Chama where there is no toll gate. That is what we want. We want a road from here to Mongo to be done through the collection of toll fees or toll gates that are established from other parts of the country. That is the idea why these toll gates were established. Now to suggest that these toll gates, 20% of the income or a certain percentage of the income should remain to the councils where they are located, that would be discriminatory. I would agree if you were saying councils to enhance property rates from these toll gates, because toll gates can be evaluated, and they should be able to also pay property rates like the way we ordinary citizens are paying property rates. That would make sense, but not to touch on the income of the country. This is a dangerous motion which should not have seen even a light on the floor of this House. But being democratic, this House is, we are happy to debate it, and the people of Chama South are against this motion and urge the mover of this motion to sit back and probably bring a better motion. Madam Speaker, with these few remarks, we strongly object and oppose this motion. I submit, Madam Speaker.
I think we have debated sufficiently. I will allow the Honorable Member for Chitambo be the last one. Let's see if you have a new point, because we are just repeating ourselves.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, allow me to thank the mover of the motion for bringing such a motion to this House, to allow members just to think positively on this matter. And also, Madam Speaker, allow me to thank the seconder for finding time to help our brother from Chiluvi bring up this motion. Madam Speaker, this motion does not even need to be on the floor of the House. Because this motion, Madam Speaker, would want to separate Zambians. There is a notion that we have in this country of one Zambia, one nation. And Madam Speaker, Zambia is made up of one state. And this we must emphasize. One Zambia, one nation, one people. And that must be emphasized, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm privileged to have been in the Kaunda era. And I know that Copper Belt is where we were getting our revenue as a country. Mining activities were happening in Kitwe, Ndola, Chingola, Kabwe as well. And the people who lived there, because there were people there also, never at one point did they think that they should get all this revenue and keep it to themselves, not even wanting a penny out of it, because they knew that Zambia required revenue to develop the whole nation as one. Today, Madam Speaker, the move of this motion should have firstly thought about these targets. Who is constructing them? Is it local councils? Local councils already have got their own targets, Madam Speaker, for his information, which they mount in each and every district. They are collecting levies for maize from whatever small things that you are selling. They've got their own toll gates, and they are plenty countrywide, and he sees them, including in Ichirubi. It is there. In fact, there are many in Ichirubi because fish ban and so on, there are plenty of them, Madam Speaker. That's why I'm saying I don't understand why this motion has been brought on the floor of the House when facts are already there. We shouldn't complicate, Madam Speaker, things which are straightforward. Already our local councils are benefiting a lot of money from central government. Today, Madam Speaker, each sector of government, because of devolution, is receiving money from central government to each and every sector of governance. The money that Honorable Member of Parliament for Nyimba spoke about It's coming, Madam Speaker, every quarter. You get about 3 million kwacha. There is also another money which we are giving to the local council, more than 3 million kwacha, for the machinery, maintenance, and so on. All these monies are being given to the council. My problem which will come out of this, Madam Speaker, if we are not careful and we support this motion, is that we are going to create a lot of centers of power. Yes, we want to do what we might call devolution, but let's not create a lot of centers of power. Madam Speaker, we are talking about management issues here. If we have multiple revenue sharing models in this country, it will be very difficult to manage. Very difficult. The Honorable Minister of Finance will agree with me that it's not easy, Madam Speaker, to manage models of finance in each and every, because they will now have, each district will have its own ways of doing things. Where will Zambia end? Madam Speaker, we have not yet reached at a time when we can have states in this country. For now, it is one Zambia, one nation, and one people. Madam Speaker, away from that, I know that the revenues we are collecting from these toll gates, it is not only about the roads that we are looking at. Yes, the law might be there. Where does this money go? It goes into Control 99. In Control 99, Madam Speaker, what we are getting from there is major infrastructure development. How do we achieve it if we allow certain portions of money to be gotten away by these local councils, whom we already know that managing certain finances is becoming a challenge, including just spending the CDF that we give them, Madam Speaker. Most councils are finding themselves with monies unspent, and monies are being sent back to Control 99. So I'm really still wanting to find out the points that I might agree with, because I'm not agreeing with this motion 100%. And I'm asking the move of this motion to withdraw it so that we don't have it on our record. Because, Madam Speaker, I don't want to be part and parcel of a failed motion which is supposed to be a very positive motion. Madam Speaker, in each and every district, if we allow too much revenue collection, very soon you'll hear that now, even now, chiefdoms are collecting their own. People will create more and more collection points. That should not be allowed, Madam Speaker. Can we allow a one Zambia, one nation notion to grow and grow into our minds? Madam Speaker, I fear for our children who are growing, who are coming up. They should find us, leaving them a legacy where we are very much united in everything that we do. Madam Speaker, today, if we allow these targets to be there, and then, Madam Speaker, we look at the people of Chilubi themselves as an example. What will they collect? How are they going to develop if we say each one for himself? Chitambo doesn't have any target, Madam Speaker. Where will I get the 10% myself? That will bring confusion in this nation. This will create a lot of challenges for people who want to bring this country together, Madam Speaker. It shouldn't be just some people. It should be all of us to be thinking positively and look forward to bringing this country and this nation as a one and as a one people. Madam Speaker, I'm still urging my brother, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Chilubi, to consider withdrawing this very, very bad motion on the floor of the House. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
No, I think the Honorable Member for Chilubi has a right not to carry on with this motion. What matters is the decision at the end of the debate. That's what matters. So, in terms of response, I don't know this, the Minister of Finance? Yes, the Honorable Minister of Finance. Some people still want to debate. No, we have exhausted. What new point, Honorable Member? Honorable Member for Bangwell.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, ignorance has no defense. The reason I've insisted to debate for 2 minutes is to correct the notion that there is no law in Zambia that compels local authorities to collect tolls. That is wrong. I'll read Annex B, Madam Speaker. I just want to make correction so that people know that it is within local authorities' mandate to do so. And it is also the right of Honorable Member for Chirubi to bring the motion seconded by another member. Madam Speaker, exclusive functions of local authorities, exclusive. I'm sure honorable members understand what exclusive means. One of the exclusive laws or functions, according to the Constitution of local authorities, is to collect toll fees, Madam Speaker. I thought I should correct this notion. Exclusive functions, they are here aligned in the Constitution, Madam Speaker, in the schedule Annex B. So any subsidiary law cannot supersede the Constitution. Madam Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to correct the members so that ignorance has no defense. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning will respond. Oh, the infrastructure. The Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I thank you for according me this opportunity to contribute to the debate on the private member's motion moved by the Honourable Member of Parliament for Chulubi, Honourable Mulenga, Fube, which urges government to enable local authorities to retain a percentage of toll revenue collected within their jurisdiction. Madam Speaker, whilst I appreciate the intent of the motion, which seeks to enhance resource availability at local authority level, I rise to oppose it on both legal and policy grounds. Madam Speaker, firstly, the legal framework governing road tolling in Zambia is clear and is not ambiguous. Section 11 of Tolls Act 2011 provides that all toll fees collected shall form part of the road fund and shall be used exclusively for the construction, maintenance, and rehabilitation of roads. This provision establishes a centralized and ring-fenced funding mechanism designed to ensure that resources are applied efficiently and equitably across the country. The Road Fund, as honorable members may be aware, is administered by the National Road Fund Agency under the National Road Fund Act. This institutional arrangement ensures prudent management, accountability, strategic allocation of resources based on national priorities rather than fragmented local considerations. Madam Speaker, the current framework already provides for local authorities to benefit from toll revenues. Through the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, which serves as an implementing agent, funds from the Road Fund are allocated to support a number of roads within local authorities. The allocation of funds from the Road Fund follows an inclusive process of identification of needs and coming up with the road sector annual work plan. This approach guarantees equitable distribution of resources, ensuring that even less economically active districts where road toll collections may be minimal or non-existent are not disadvantaged. Madam Speaker, an additional initiative supported by road toll revenues collected under the National Road Tolling Program is the Road Tolling Maintenance Program. This program is a collaborative initiative by the National Road Fund Agency, the Road Development Agency, and the Ministry of Local Government. It is designed to strengthen road maintenance efforts and enhance road safety across selected local authorities. Madam Speaker, through this program, numerous roads have been rehabilitated, such as pothole patching and road line marking in Kitwe, portal repairs in Wansha, and the construction of the Kapirimposhi bus station, to mention but a few. If we were to allow each local authority to retain a portion of toll revenues collected within their jurisdictions, we risk creating disparities in development where only high traffic areas will benefit, to the detriment of rural and low traffic regions.
Order. As the time is 16:40 hours, I suspend business for 20 minutes for a health break.
Good afternoon. Business has been suspended until 17 hours, and on the floor of the House was Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, Ms. Masebo, adding a voice to a motion that has been moved by Chilubi Member of Parliament, Mr. Fube, and seconded by Kanchiwia Member of Parliament, Mr. Chanda. And they're urging the House, the motion is titled, Enable Local Authorities to Retain a Percentage of toll revenue collected within their jurisdictions. That this House urges the government to put in place modalities that will empower local authorities retain a percentage of the toll revenue collected within their jurisdiction.
Yes, and then so far we look at what has been discussed on the floor of the House from the time business started, and we had an announcement at the beginning of the sitting. This announcement was made by the Honourable Madam Speaker, in which she recognized the presence of pupils and teachers from Emmanuel Adventist Secondary School in Chisamba District. And on behalf of the institution, she welcomed them in the House.
We did have a presentation of 7 government bills at first reading stage. You must mention that they've actually passed this particular stage, and details of what will transpire thereafter will be availed to you at time of adjournment. Of course, the House did consider 4 questions for oral answer understanding order number 80.
And still to come, we have a motion that will be moved by Lukulu East Member of Parliament, Dr. Kalila, and this is a committee report on cabinet affairs. So that is what is expected to come on the floor of the House. Just now we take a break.
Parliament TV, bringing Parliament closer to you. Mwembeshi is a constituency that covers Muteli and Nampundwe in Shibuyunji district of Central Province. The distance between Lusaka and Mwembeshi is 45.3 kilometers. Mining and farming are some of the major economic activities in this constituency. Mr. Jamba Majila is Mwembeshi MP under the United Party for National Development, a seat he previously held as an independent Member of Parliament. He runs us through the members of Parliament that have served before him.
Jonas Monde. From Jonas Monde we come to